Good morning and welcome to It's How You'll Be Remembered. I am Julie Jones, your host and the Chief Encouragement Officer here at Today's Professionals. And look who is back with us. So excited to have Suzanne Castle
I'm so
with
excited
us.
to be here.
And
Seriously.
I still have my banner up that we're not even ready for that banner. So this is what happens when, we start talking before we go live and we're like, yeah, 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 yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like, we got to go live.
We do. We got to go live. That's right.
So anyway, Suzanne, thank you so much for coming back because you are one of my all-time favorite people and I just love spending time with you. And so thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom with us.
Oh, I'm so delighted. Thank you for the invitation. I know our conversation is just going to be fabulous because I love what we're talking about today.
Yes. And today we are doing a check-in, right? So go back to New Year's Eve and New Year's Day when you're like 2025, yes, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And then January hits and you're just running, running, running. And you know what we know is that when things get tough and we start to feel overwhelmed, we resort back to our old habits,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
we're checking in to see if you are on target. We're in February, 1st of February. And so are you where you want to be? And we're going to try to dive into, if you're not, some things that will help you get back on track. Right.
Right. And I can't wait because I know we all had those things. You had those things. I had those things where whether you do a word of the year or, what I teach my clients is a feeling, you want to
Yep.
feel a certain way, or whether you're like, here's my resolutions. Life is
Mhm.
like this, right? Business is like this. And so you
Mhm.
may have these great intentions. And now here you are, month two, right, of 2025 going, oh my gosh, what just happened?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's easy to say January's already gone. So
Yeah.
you know what? I'll sit later.
Right. Yes.
Because we're already already tired.
Yeah, and it's kind of overused already, I think, but a lot of people I know are like January was the longest year ever, right? There was just a lot of chaos in the world and a lot coming at you as far as information and what you needed to do and how you need to show up. And there's all these experts everywhere saying do this, do that, and it's all conflicting information. So
Mhm.
as far as your body and your brain go, they're like, I can't. I'm in overload. I can't do one more thing, and so we just don't. And then here we are, and before you know it, it's going to be the end of quarter one. And I know you help your clients, like, how do you show up? How do you talk about yourself? How do you get in the right rooms? What are the things you need to do? And I teach people how to make decisions, how to strategically hack your brain. And so I think together in this conversation, I really hope that we can give the people watching and tuning in kind of a few little quick action takes that you can do to really get your momentum back.
Exactly. Exactly, because it's easy to say, "I'm not gonna go to this event because 'cause I'm
Right.
tired."
Yeah.
So, I was thinking about this morning, how far I've come personally in my personal journey in networking, because I used to hate it. I
Yeah.
used to be one of the people that were like, "Ah, gotta go network," and I love people, but the networking piece really bothered me. But now how much I love networking because I've developed the skill set, but it's taken years of practice and it's taken years of me saying, I don't want to, but I need to
Right. And I
do it
love
anyway.
I love how you just switched that already. So, what we think and what we feel is imprinted in our action. So
Mhm.
our brains will always tell us, "Oh, you think this is hard?" Your brain's like, "Yep, I'm going to show you all the places that's hard. I'm going to confirm that for you." If
Yeah.
if you say you're tired, you might physically be tired, but then your
Mhm.
brain's like, "Yep, we're tired." So
Yep.
I don't know if you notice when you're physically tired, it's hard to think. Or sometimes it's I need to go take a break, or the reverse is I need to go move to get oxygen flowing. And then your brain's like, oh, we're not as tired as you thought we were. So
Right.
that confirmation bias really plays into exactly what we're talking about, which is here we are,
Mm.
month two. What is your brain and your body and your feelings and your actions telling you right now? Because that is
Yep.
everything for what you're
Every
trying to get.
Yes. I used to have a poster in my classroom that said, watch your thoughts because they become your words. Watch your words because they become your actions. Watch your
Yep.
actions because they become your habits.
Yep.
Watch your habits because they become your character. Watch your character for it becomes your destiny. In other words, what you think about, you bring about.
That's
And so,
exactly right. Yeah.
yeah. And so when you think about, reverse engineering that, if you want to change your thought process, if you reverse it, you got to change what you do. You got to change your actions
That's right.
because no one ever says, oh, I don't want to go to the gym, but I'm going to go anyway. And then
Right.
you work out. And then when you leave, you go, man, I wish I hadn't done that. you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
no one ever says that,
Right.
but your actions, when you leave the gym, and you're like, gosh, I'm so glad I did. I feel so much energy. I feel better. I'm going to be sore tomorrow. And it's a good sore, and then all of a sudden your thought is, I love working out
Right. Right.
because
And
you
it's
did.
amazing. I think we short circuit ourselves. I know we're going to talk about other things in a minute, but I think we short circuit ourselves a little bit because what I try to teach my own self, by the way, and other people I'm working with is, all right, you said you were going to do something, go do it for 10 minutes, like the gym. That's a good example, like the gym.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
after at minute 10:01, you're like, yeah, I'm tired, I'm hurting, I'm whatever, then take a break. But what usually happens is that 10-minute cycle that kind of reacts from brain down into your parasympathetic nervous system, back up into your brain and again. But sometimes it takes 10 minutes to reset, but we give
Yep.
up over that 10-minute
Yes.
window.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's why when you work out with the trainer, and
Yeah.
I've done that, and they're like, get on the treadmill, get on the cycle, do something for 10 minutes, get on
That's
the
right.
row machine for 10 minutes, and then we're going to start working out because we want to warm your body up, but it also warms your brain up.
That's right. That's exactly right. Because now the oxygen's flowing in your brain, which means you can create new neural pathways. And all of that is how we make decisions, how we act, etc. So yeah, I love that we're having this conversation at the beginning of February so that
Yes,
people can feel like the last 31 days weren't just wasted.
exactly. So true. So let's talk about decisions and how we make decisions because we make a lot of decisions every day. I know you probably have a statistic. How many decisions does an average person make? Do you have that?
I
On the
don't have
top of
that
your head?
ready, but but here's what I will say is you are making decisions at such a rapid rate, hundreds in a minute.
Oh,
Hundreds in a minute from, is my heart beating? Do I sit up? Is my hair okay? Oh yeah, I'm at the grocery store. Oh, the dogs are barking. Oh, I got to follow up with that client. Like all of that are actually decisions. They are also to-dos, by the way. But your brain, what I like to say, you've heard me talk about this. It's like the 24-hour news cycle. You know, the ticker tape on the bottom of that? Those are decisions all the time that you're making. Like you make some unconsciously just by the way that you be in the world as a human. Blink an eye, breathe, heartbeat. Those are decisions, by the way. Activate this to do this. Activate this to do this. It's a decision. And then you have the conscious decisions, which are, should I pull my sleeves up on my blazer? Right. So all
right,
of these things are coming at us at such a rapid rate. You can imagine why, if you just broke those down moment by moment, why you are tired, why your brain hurts, why it feels like you have so much coming at you, because you actually do have so much coming
right,
at
right. And then you throw in ADHD on top of that, where there's like,
you. Yeah, that's
which is
exactly
what,
right.
I've battled my whole life is just, where do I focus? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And so oftentimes I just do nothing.
Right. Well,
I
that's
do
pretty
nothing.
typical. Right.
Yeah.
Because
And
your
so,
brain's like, "There's too much, so just don't."
yes, so we're just not. And so that brings us to our first point here is that when you're making a lot of decisions, it really reduces your productivity. It's just steals what you need to be doing. And
Right.
so go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, I
So
was just
hilarious. I love this. No, please go.
so what I was just going to say was that it just really, when you're trying to think, I have this to-do list and you've prioritized it, but then all of a sudden you're working on this and then your brain jumps to, but I told them I'd be here. And so you kind of get distracted or the phone rings, and you're like,
Right.
okay, I've got to take care of this. And so you really just start putting out fires. You're just like putting out fires. And at the end of the day, you go, I didn't really get anything done.
Right. It goes back to what we were talking about, the choice to go to a
Mm.
networking event like that. So at the end of the day, you can be like, I went to a networking event. It didn't go well. I didn't meet anybody that I needed to meet. it was a waste of my time. And you can find information that says that based on your decisions. Because as soon as you stepped in that room, if you decided you weren't going to meet anybody right, you don't meet anybody right.
You don't.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is the trap that we get in. And yes, so it's called decision fatigue. It's kind of an emerging area within brain science and neuroscience and productivity science, which is you don't even realize the amount of decision fatigue. And decision fatigue is actually stealing all of your productivity in a day. Think about it this way, Julie. Every decision that you make throughout the day depletes the mental energy you have. And if your mental energy is depleted, it leads you to slower, more reactive choices later. It's like driving drunk. That's what this science is saying. So if you are just in this place where I've got to do, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? It's no different than drinking too much and then getting in your car and driving home after a networking event. So these small, seemingly harmless choices that we think are harmless, right? What to wear, what to eat, when to respond to an email, let's say, it compounds into brain exhaustion, and they make the bigger decisions that are really important for us to move the needle in life and business really feel overwhelming. And part of the way out of that is, we talked about this, getting oxygen. That's the big thing. Making sure that you're taking brain breaks, which is you tell your brain, I'm going to work on this thing for 20 minutes. And
Right.
then I'm going to, and it needs to be something completely different. So if all you can manage is 20 minutes, then go take a 5-minute break. If you're a 60-minute person, then you need to go color, go blow bubbles, do something else. All of this is the way that you have to really combat that decision fatigue, because your brain just needs to rest. Think about it. It's no different than you have to sleep, you have to eat. Your brain also needs to just stop trying to serve you at such a high level.
Right, right. And you always have to say boss your brain. And so sometimes when you're bossing your brain for a long time, you need to give yourself and your brain that break. And when it's pretty outside, like yesterday, my break was to go for a walk. I get
Right.
outside, right? That was just so good for me because it's been so cold and I hate the cold. And so it has been wonderful to be able to get out a little bit.
Right. And I know we talked about before we went live, another way, like I love that, like it has this change. And so would this serve me if I go do this thing? Right. The other thing is really to have kind of streamline your decision making, which means repeatable system. So it could be like every night before I go to bed, I'm going to choose what I'm going to wear tomorrow. Or even if that feels like you want a little more flexibility, I'm going to choose two things. So in the morning, I just have to choose this or this. Like, parents use this with children, and guess what? Our brains haven't evolved much from children days. And so give yourself a system in which you can easily make a decision. So it could be like, I'm doing a big thing, whatever the big thing is. I'm going to give myself 1 week to make the decision, and then I'm going to make the decision. So that really combats that kind of constant overload that we have. And we could always look for something else. We could always do more research. And so it's really, how do I make a decision? What's the best way for me to make decisions? You need to know that about yourself. Everyone's different. And then what is the timeline then to make that decision to really move the needle forward in what I said I wanted to do?
I love that. And as you were talking about that, about reducing decisions for what you're going to wear, right? So let's pick out
Yeah.
2 outfits and which one am I going to wear? I think for me, one of the things that has helped is to decide I wear solid colors.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna so when I buy things in solid colors and all in a solid color family so that I can mix and match.
Right.
And so I don't so like my closet used to have like tons of stuff in it. And it was just packed full of things, and I would stand there and go, "I have nothing to wear," and I'd wanna
Yes.
go buy more stuff.
Right.
But what I really needed to do was reduce the amount of choices that were in the closet and things that I thought were cute in the store. When I brought home, I'm like, "I really don't have a place to wear them."
Right.
And so I ended up not wearing them. So then you feel guilty about, "Oh my gosh, I wasted money and here's space in the closet." When I spent some time to get rid of that stuff and then just reduce the amount of clothes that I wear, it's easier for me to make that decision in the mornings.
Well, you just beautifully illustrated exactly why decision fatigue happens. So for some of us, most of us, we have too much. And the
Mhm.
too muchness of our world from personal to professional is keeping us stuck in that kind of overwhelmed decision, don't know what to do next, even though we have so much in front of us. It's the so much that hurts because your brain can't filter out quick enough to really what is the best next step for me, or what feels right to me, or what helps me do this in a better fashion. I'm not going to necessarily say quicker, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, but in a better fashion that allows me to
Right.
do what I said I wanted to do. And so from wardrobe to what you're going to eat, I know a lot of people that batch prep their lunches so that, they're busy during the week and they just have it and they go. And so they already know what they're doing. As soon as you do stuff like that, Julie, your brain gets clear. It's like, that's one less thing for me to worry about. And then that same mental energy can then go to things that are really important for you. The big
Mhm.
decisions about where to invest or hire a team member or say yes to an event, whatever that is. You've got more mental load to deal with that when you let the little things already be decided for you in a system.
Gosh, yes. I did a class 2 weeks ago for a group of young professionals, and we talked about this. And I asked them, "Do you stand in front of your closet and say, 'It's full of clothes, you have nothing to wear?'" And they're all nodding, and I said, "That tells me you have too much, that maybe you buy impulsively and that you need to get rid of stuff." And so everybody you could feel the room, right? It was like, "Ooh," and so the person that hired me said, "I think that landed with somebody." And so at the end, I had 2 people, when I say, "What's your biggest takeaway from today?" 2 people said, "I'm cleaning out my closet this weekend."
Well, and it helps move it forward. Like that's the thing. That again, great illustration. That's the thing. Like you just help those people show up better in the morning. And I promise you, those young professionals are going to show up better at work because they're showing up better for themselves first thing in the morning.
Right,
This is
right.
the cycle and the reteaching that we really, your work does, that my work does. We really have to be in this space to be intentional about all of this.
Yeah. And I wanna touch on one thing too from my past experience, because I have grown children who now have children of their own, right? But when my children were little, I was in this, cycle of the hamster wheel. I call it the hamster wheel. We just get up and we go, we go, we go, we go.
Yes.
And so we never have time because our calendars are so packed. My children had after school activities, we both worked. There was just lots of things going on. And so what happened was our home was chaos. And
Yes.
so there were times where I would come home literally, and I would be the last one home from school because I had after school activities or whatever. And there was laundry on the couch, and my kids were laying on it while they were watching TV.
Just defeated it, didn't it?
And I'm just like, and you know what I ended up doing is like, you're going to wear those wrinkled. You know
Yeah.
what? But then I go back and I say, that was my fault. Because I didn't have a system in place to give them responsibilities to
Right.
contribute to the home, and so that's one of the things that moms can do is to say, "Okay, family, this we all contribute here. We all live here, and so we all contribute, and so what are some things that you can get your family to do to help you so that if, you've got towels or T-shirts or, underwear or whatever it is on the couch that need to be folded and put away, they know to do that, because that then helps and it gives them a sense of responsibility as well. And so it's good for the whole family.
Yeah, I love that. And then Natalia just put a comment up about feeling so seen. We all feel seen here, right, Natalia? I mean,
Yeah.
and I think my dogs, believe it or not, I have 2 rescued boxers. They'll probably bark here in a minute because they love to hear me talk and then think they have to talk back. So they've taught me a lot about systems productivity. Here's why. I don't have to set an alarm because my dogs have an internal alarm that goes off at 6:45 every morning to go to the bathroom.
Yep.
And they go to the door, they go to the bathroom, they come in, they sit at the refrigerator, they wait for me to pull out the food. We go eat, then they do another bathroom break, and then the next thing that they do is they go perimeter check in the backyard. Then they come in and they're like, "Okay, mom, now what can we do?" And I have my morning routine that I do, and they sit next to me while I do. I mean, it's just very regimented. And
Yep.
anytime I get off that, there is chaos. My dogs
Hmm.
don't understand what's happening. They bark. They need more attention. They don't come in and that is such a good example of from a canine, fine. We're like, oh, we're a human. We're so evolved. We're really not. Like that same kind of regimented, what do I do to start my morning or how do I end my day can really serve you. But you have to make some teeny tiny systems decision that will help free your brain of mental overload.
Yes. And yes. And I think that when you implement those systems, everyone will follow.
Right.
So when you tell your children, look, your job is to fold the towels or to make your bed or to clean your bathroom or to take out the trash, whatever it is that you ask them to do, it doesn't have to be a lot, but it has to be enforced. And that's
Right.
going to be hard. Like for me, it was really hard to tell tell my kids quit laying on the laundry and
Yeah.
fold it because they were like, why?
Right.
So after they wore wrinkled clothes to school for a little while, they realized, maybe we should, do something about that. And so, and it was the same thing with money. Teaching my daughter, we used to go shopping for clothes because she was one that she always thought that she needed a brand new wardrobe every season.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was like, no, we don't do that. We have to carry things from season to season. And so what I started doing with her is implementing um, a budget. So I would go pull out cash. This is a Dave Ramsey thing. I would go
Oh,
pull out
yeah.
cash and give it to her and say, this is what you have to spend. And so rather than going to Abercrombie and Fitch because she didn't really care how much it was and buying a whole new wardrobe there, and I'm like, wait, what? She would then started going to Forever 21. And I said,
Right.
oh, why are we doing Forever 21 now? She goes, well, because I can buy more with this. And she really did love the structure and the choices that it gave her, and it
Right.
helped her learn to work on a budget. So really those systems that you're implementing in your life, when you teach your family to implement those too, it simplifies your life so much.
Right.
Because when you come into your home, you want to go, this is my castle, right? This is
Right.
where I live with my family and we have fun. It's not, oh my gosh, I got to do the dishes. I got to fold the clothes. I got to do this. It's not the second list of to-dos
Correct.
that fatigue your brain with decision making.
That's right. Because you're thinking about those things all day. So
Yeah.
it's what, I want to really, one things we didn't think, talk ahead about, Julie, was deep thinking. And, we need to be in a place of deep thinking more. And if you want to be in that space, which really helps you really goal get and understand your targets and what's working and what's not working. I mean, here we are in month 2. Like, did you evaluate month 1? What were you working on that worked? What did you work on that didn't work? What do you need to magnify? What do you need to let go of? All these things that I teach my clients to do. But the thing is the deep work helps you do that. And your brain cannot do deep work if it's always like, oh, this, oh, that, oh, this, oh, that. So by
Mhm.
creating that system that we've talked about to really like, what can I manage quickly? What can I manage in a system so that my brain can serve me in the deep work I'm trying to do? It will
Mhm.
help you. I know it feels like a lot right now,
A
but
lot.
that one change, if you could make that one change today, all of you listening, like that is the place to start. Like start with the little things, like how you start your morning, how you do your evening, whatever, so that your brain can then show up for you for the big things at work.
Right. Right. And I think too, if coming from an ADHD person who always has this going, like it's just constant, I've found that if you take a pen and write in a journal, write how you felt today, write what you were proud of today, write what you want to accomplish to
Right.
either today or tomorrow, whenever you're doing it. There's something about the physical writing, this is my education background, that really helps get it out. And we call it brain dump, just get
Yes.
it out on a piece of paper. And then you're like, okay, now I can breathe again. And you
Yeah.
rest better.
It's brain science too. Brain science says not typing, not audio, literally pen to paper, pencil to paper, because it
Mhm.
creates a different imprint in your brain. So that simple act is helping your brain be healthier, Julie. So I
Yes.
love it. I love that you talked about
Yes.
that. I
Yeah.
think what we've been leaning into here is really kind of that hack that I really want to nail down, which is productivity is not about doing more. Like I just really want, I mean, if I could, disrupt the system a little bit, it's
Right,
productivity isn't more. It's not moreness. It's about making fewer unnecessary choices so that you can channel that energy into your meaningful work. So what you and I have been modeling with real life is decision frameworks, right? So the unsexy way of talking about what we're talking about is if X happens, I do Y. And so by knowing that ahead of time, you're eliminating that daily mental clutter that's just hanging out up here. And it
mhm,
does make your execution faster, which I think is why you need mentors, you need friends, you need a coach, because what they can do is recognize patterns of behavior. They can help you custom build a system, right, that matches your strength. They can
yeah,
ensure that you spend time. I teach my clients, decide once. You don't remake a decision. You execute the decision, then you can evaluate the decision and do it differently next time. But you must decide and then act. So they can help you do that. They eliminate kind of second guessing and more time taking aligned action kind of things. You're teaching
right,
people to do that too in the corporate space.
right, right. And that brings us to our next talking point that I think is really important. Do you make fast decisions or do you make right decisions? Because if you go too far on this pendulum, I mean, you have to
Right.
find the right balance of that.
Yep.
Because really successful people who are entrepreneurs and CEOs, they make decisions and move on. And if they made the wrong decision, they'll go back and change it. But sometimes if you make a fast decision and it's the wrong decision, the consequences are pretty big.
Right.
So there has to be a balance of, fast versus right, because if you're too consumed with making the right decision, then you're frozen in fear and you
That's
just
right.
can't move forward. So what are some tips for how do you make the fast versus the right decision?
So one, I love this. We talked about this a little bit, which is give yourself a time frame, know in advance. There's a lot of people that have paralysis by analysis. They want all the research, all the things, and each tidbit of research
Mm,
then extends the decision making. There's nothing wrong with that, but ahead of time for big decisions, you need to decide what the time frame is. That's what I will say first and foremost. So many business owners I find get stuck between what you said, making a decision quick and making it perfect. So a
right.
rushed mistake, paralysis by analysis. And what we want to do is we want to kind of bring that into the fluffy middle a little bit. So in my research and in my coaching, what I've noticed is high performers build what I call decision confidence. That is, I'm going to focus on alignment over perfection. So it looks like this. If I'm living in alignment, my values, my mission, everything from home to work, by the way, like that all has to be together. That's a Disney principle, by the way.
Yeah.
So all of it
Mm,
has to harmonize, right? When
mhm.
when when you're in that and you're faced with a thing, the question that I ask that I'm trying to teach people listening and everywhere else is, what is the next best step to take here? Not the right step. So what we want to do is it feels big, it feels huge. And so I think that's what keeps us the, the analysis paralysis mode, more things, more things, more research, because it's so big. Instead of saying, you know what, there's something here that I could do right now. What's the right now step? What's the next best step I could take? Because every time you take a step, you're teaching your brain, I'm stepping out in fear. I'm not, we talk about fear sharks in my work. We're not going to get bitten by the shark when we step off the island. But also, what you're doing is saying, that didn't hurt. That's okay. That didn't bankrupt me. That's okay. I didn't end up on the bathroom floor. That's okay. So one way to like not, it's rushed but not rushed. So rushed is, I don't care about the consequences. Analysis paralysis, I
Mhm.
can't move because there's so many consequences. When you're teaching yourself what's the next best step that I can take today or by the end of the week, you're teaching yourself like mitigated risk taking,
Right.
which is really important to kind of move that momentum needle.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's so great. I mean, just taking the steps, especially if you're frozen in fear and you're just like, I don't know, I don't know. Take a step as much as you can. And then I would say too, don't let other people pressure you.
Yeah.
You know, just ask for time. Just say, I can't make that decision right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
you do a good job of this too in teaching. I've heard you present before about, have an outcome ahead of time. So I'm walking in a networking event. I heard you talk about this. Walking in a networking event, and I know I need to make 3 contacts in this industry or something. So you've already decided the outcome needs to look like this. But for someone like me that hates networking events, right? I'm an I'm an extroverted introvert. So I'm
Right. I know.
extroverted when I'm on stage, and I know you. I'm an introvert if I've never met you before, like a
That's right.
wallflower me. And so just by saying I'm in search of 3 people for this, then my brain's like, we need to go do this. So then
Right.
it's the next best decision is I'm going to start a conversation with this person that I see in the blue t-shirt. And I'm filtering. Is this the person we're talking to? If not, I'm going to start another
Move on.
conversation instead of I'm going to work the room. That feels big and
It's
huge to me.
overwhelming. Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the way you do this in practice, no matter what it's about.
Yes.
It's what's the next
And
best thing? What's the next
yes.
best step?
Yes. And then when you accomplish your goal, you give yourself permission to say, I did it and I'm
Yeah.
out of here.
Right.
Right.
Right. I'm out of here. Or that person's like, oh, I know someone who. You just never know by taking a teeny tiny micro step what that can mean. And I don't know about you, but most of brain science will tell us we need constant affirmation that the work that we're doing is the right work. And when you can do that, your brain filters out the stuff that isn't making sense, that's not working for you. So you need that constant micro stepping, those kind of next best step kind of way of
Yeah.
being, because that
Yeah.
also then helps your brain help you make better decisions, more aligned decisions, faster decisions. So again, it's full circle in our conversation today.
I know. And I love this. And I could talk to you all day. I mean,
I know
we just,
we could just go on and on. We should lead
yeah.
a workshop together, Julie, about this. I'm
Right.
telling you.
Right. We should. Let's do a master class
Yeah,
together
we need to do that.
on brain science. So Suzanne is the creator of the Sparkle Factor, and she helps women do this all day long. She's helped me for the past 2 years, and I credit her for getting to where I am today. Because when I first met her, I was a puddle of mush on the floor,
My favorite.
and
My favorite.
Suzanne is one of those that just says, "Come on, girl, let's link up and stand up and go." So if you love this conversation today, be sure and reach out to me or reach out to Suzanne. And also check out Suzanne's brand new podcast, The Sparkle Sesh. I love that name. I
Thank you.
love that name, The Sparkle Sesh, because your mission in life is to help us all sparkle and shine and bring our light to the world. And what we have found is when you let your light shine, the people who are looking for your light will come to you, and those who are not will go away. And
That's right.
isn't that a great thing?
It is.
You
Life
know,
gets lighter. Life gets
life
lighter.
gets lighter when you're not trying to please everybody.
That's right. That's right.
Please everybody. Suzanne, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been amazing. And I just, even today, I know that there are some things that I need to do now in my life with my business that's going to help me reduce that decision fatigue so that I can be more productive. It's not about doing more, it's about doing more quality
Yes.
work. So
Well,
thank you.
I want to take a moment to thank you, Julie, for how you're showing up in the world with today's professionals, from your workshops to your conversations, teaching people how to network at the ripe old age of 54 and the ripe old age of 19 and everything in between. You
Yeah.
really are, I think, pushing out differently to the world how you can be aligned in what your mission is, how you show up, how you share that as a company, as a professional. And it's really remarkable to be on this journey with you.
Well, thank you. And I'm so glad that you're on it with me because it's just been so nice to be able to text you or call you and say, I need help. And you just always just like have the right thing to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
So also, if you are not a member, Suzanne is president of International Association of Women, the DFW chapter. If you'd like more information about that, it's a great networking group for women in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And well, nationwide, you can join a chapter anywhere. So if you're interested in that, reach out to either Suzanne or me. We can get you some information on that as well.
Would love that. Yes. And Julie's on the board as well. So come on, we would love to
Yep,
serve you in a different way.
absolutely. All right. Well, you all go out there and have a great day. Implement systems and processes that reduce your decision making. And let's get back on track and let's make 2025 the best year ever.
That's right. Thanks, Julie.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Suzanne.